to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips for easily ignite your full spectrum wealthy life. Join us every Saturday at 8:45 a.m. Pacific with your friends and families because we all want and deserve to be healthy and happy and wealthy. This podcast is powered by Anchor FM by Spotify. Anchor FM is this super awesome free podcast made easy platform. And for this week, we are so honored and so thrilled to have two, not just one guest, the Anne and Taylor Morgesons. And they are just amazing, amazing people. So thrilled to have you here. And so, would you share with us, Anne and Taylor, what is it that you do?
We are both health coaches, and
Help people with a healthy mind, body, and finances. And that's really
Awesome. I love the full spectrum part, the mind, body, and finance. That's, can have healthy body and broke, that wouldn't work too well, right? So that is so awesome. So how do you, is this something you've always done? How do you land it being health coaches, or actually full spectrum coaches, health, mind, health, body, and finance?
well, we're both retired teachers, and then we jump up to be health coaches because of our experience, especially the transformation of my husband, and he will tell you the story about it.
yeah. So I grew up. Well, she's from the Philippines. I'm from northern New Mexico, and we met here in Texas. And but before that, of course, I played baseball. I was a pretty good athlete and had like a scholarship and all that. But I ended up hurting my left knee very badly my senior year of high school, which led to me getting into music, going to school, but caused it was just weight gain year after year after year after year because I wasn't really exercising and still had all those habits as an athlete of eating just a ton of calories. So um, I gained probably in the first 4 or 5 years after that happened, maybe about 80 pounds. And then I came to Denton, the University of North Texas, where I went to school for graduate music, and I ended up teaching there as well. And in that time, I just, it was a very comfortable kind of life. The only exercise I got was probably walking to the fourth floor of the library, a couple of times a week, but that was about it. And I accidentally, yeah, I was trying to lose weight and all every now and again, but I ended up basically getting to about 300 pounds. So during that time, Ann and I met back like 2009, and we talked for a while. We dated, and then we ended up getting married in 2015. And it was about a year right after that I started having some major health issues because of the weight. So of course she's trying to take care of me and get me healthy and all this stuff, but I would usually get injured or just fall off the diets we were doing. And so finally I ended up developing a disease called diverticulitis and couldn't really beat it. I actually didn't know I had it for like a month, and it caused some really bad blood pressure issues. Ended up giving me an aneurysm on my heart. And this is early 2016. So for the next, I ended up being hospitalized overnight in the ER. So for the next 2 years, 2.5 years after that, we tried several different diets, exercising, and nothing worked. My blood pressure was still sky high, even
Wow.
with medication. My cholesterol was a problem, and I had purines. I was taking allopurinol. I didn't have gout, but I had purines in my blood, and they were really concerned about that. And so
Wow.
I kept getting diverticulitis over and over, and it was about the summer of 2018 I couldn't beat it with several different rounds of antibiotics, and ended up having a basically what they call a hypertensive crisis, where I had to be brought to the ambulance, the hospital, and they said, "Don't worry, it's just a fluke. Stay on your medicine. Try to lose some weight, and it'll be okay." Shortly after that experience, we met who the person is my health coach now. By Ann was doing some inquiring with some of my old colleagues, and we decided to do the program. One of the ones that we work with now is a very successful program. But I decided to wait for 3 weeks for whatever reason. And it was about a week after that, we had to call the ambulance again. And this time is when my heart really had some problems. And in the back of the ambulance, my blood pressure kept getting to about 300 over 150. And then the cuff would reset. go back to zero. And this happened over and over. The EMT in the back kept pushing labetalol. They had an IV in me, and it's a kind of beta blocker to bring it down. They couldn't bring it down, and I just looked at him, and he looked at me, and basically it was muffled and weird, but he said something about getting ready to meet my maker because he didn't think I was going to make it to the ambulance, and he was worried. This guy was basically praying. And well, we made it to the hospital, and 20 minutes later, my blood pressure went from just sky high, stroke levels to 80 over 40, and they're trying to bring it up now. And so it was then I said I had to make a change, because I look at the end of the gurney in that room and see my wife, just the look on her face. And this was like the third time I'd done this to her. That was enough. And so we signed up with my coach, Jim Brown, the very next day. The company called Optavia, and within 4 months, I was off all my medication, like all of it. And I'd lost 80 pounds. And another 4 or 5 months after that, I kept going and lost another, I'd say, I think 50 or 60. Together, I lost about 140 pounds after about 9-10 months. And it was right during that time that she said, this is wonderful. She's telling us that we can do this. We can help people do what you did. And my coach was telling me the same thing. Yes, you and we were ready. This is because we were both teachers, but I mean, we both have a big, we want to help society. Like it's a calling for us to help others. And so that's when we decided to become certified health coaches. And since then, we've helped about 120 people lose weight. I'd say half of them beat obesity, and just helping people, one, beat obesity, two, beat disease, and just reclaim their health, but do it from a healthy way of nutrition, hydration, and then simply folding in exercise after you've lost the weight to try and regain some of that shape. So that's why we're here today. But in that journey, we also realized that, one, it's the mentality, and two, it is absolutely a financial situation in this country that's holding a lot of people back and keeping them from making changes, because it's an uphill battle, so to speak. But I could ramble on for this for a while. But that's how we ended up speaking here with you today, Dr. Bridget. So.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That is so awesome. I mean, just the how I can only imagine how scary it was, particularly for Anne, like to see all this. And at the same time, I love how you shared with our audience on, you know what's good for you to do, right? And to go on this thing here, to go on and start creating change while you're already on the hospital. And at the same time, this, like you said, it's a little bit of a mentality. You like have the, oh, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait 3 weeks, and if that nothing happened in that 3 weeks, your old comfort zone probably say, well, I mean, it's kind of good now. Let's wait 3 more weeks. So things like that,
Yep.
and it was scary and probably in the past, and at the same time, kind of like the universe, like enough. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's actually the waking up call
Yeah. Well
to
said.
me.
yeah. Yeah, well, that is that is such a beautiful story. And I love how, and you have the before and after picture, and I love how sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of time people say, oh, health coaches, if I want to lose weight and all these things, but for you it is, even when people has a lot of challenge, like what you're talking about, not just a little weight loss, that a little diet, but it's talking about like obesity. And when you have all these health problems, health concerns stacking up in a very quick time, you can change too. Is that sounds correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It compounds either way. It can compound for the good and for the worse. And I think
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. When it comes to health coaching, it is important. The reason it is important is because medicine today often will be reactionary. You'll see them once, you won't see or talk to your doctor again for at least another 6 months to a year. And what we do is what health coaches do is when you lose inspiration, when you lose motivation, when you experience adversity, we are there with you. We are there to help you with your discipline. You are a type of a disciple, if you were. So you lean on your teachings, but that's where you have the support. And then you also have us to be accountable to, and that we do play a kind of guardian role in that. And I mean, because everybody's journey is different, but there's always some similarities, and we're there to experience the good and the bad with you. But we find that the success really comes from four components. One of them is definitely the coach. Two is definitely the community, which what we're doing right now. We're connecting.
Yeah.
Three is our founder,
Habits.
Dr. Wayne Anderson, and our habits of health. Extremely important, and it's the habits that'll give you success, because we're not about just getting you to lose weight and get healthy. We're about teaching you how to sustain that and maintain it when you reach your target weight, because we don't want you as like a lifetime customer. That's the different. We want to teach you how to live your life and reclaim your health and get on your merry way. If you want to be a part of what we do, that's wonderful, and we are all for you. We teach you how to do that too, but we're more interested in teaching you good habits, good hydration, good nutrition, getting you a good community for good support, and being a coach to help you be accountable and help you journey. So that's
Yeah.
we definitely that's what. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned the coach aspect, because even myself, I fell into that man, like, who is I'm a health coach? Give me a break. Whatever. I was an athlete. I know what I'm doing, like, I mean, and it's just that was me too, I mean, to a T. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is a mentality change. Yeah.
And thank you, Mar, for kind of a couple comments. Thank you, Mar. I saw on the other line Anissa's joining. Thank you for and if you are watching this, feel welcome to share your comments, your thought, your feedback. Just type it in, and we'll be able to respond to that. And so that is so wonderful. So that yeah, it's the full spectrum thing. And then I love how you said, yes, you're there, and things happen to you by the person, but also your goal is not to try to because sometimes people has this thing of like, oh, if I go on this coaching or what have you, and then I'm going to be a forever client for them.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, and
and you,
that's a
you
legitimate concern with the many other companies and schemes. And I mean, they want you as a lifelong client, and we want you to be healthy lifelong and spread the message.
yeah, that's lovely.
We are so honored to partner with Dr. A's mission, Get
Mhm.
America or the World Healthy.
That's right.
And with all that four components, it's proven that it's really a predictable results. Your body will respond to it. And most of our clients would say, we are empowered to sustain and to thrive, not just to exist, but be alive.
Right.
And
Yeah.
really the joy of being a health coach, it's priceless because you see them transform not just physically but also mentally and financially as
Yeah.
well. It's the holistic transformation that's their joy.
Yeah, and probably relationship too, because if you
Yeah.
weren't able or you weren't feeling good, you're naturally not gonna be in as even better relationship. So do you have say for the gentleman, if you were to give one health tip from your experience and your knowledge now, Taylor, for the gentlemen, is there one thing that, I know that there might be hundreds, but one for our audience or gentlemen, one health tip that the gentleman can apply to themselves or the ladies can apply to their loved one who are gentlemen?
My big thing is walking. I move, and I think that is what I attribute more to anything else than to saving my life, is that forcing the blood through my body and then forcing it, the blood pressure down, and then through walking, and then definitely the diet, low sodium. But more than anything, our bodies were designed to move, and it's just we don't. We I and I this I joke when we do we've done a couple of these little interviews today. During this interview will be the longest that I sit and not move unless I am napping, and I don't nap a lot, but I mean, like, I don't I don't feel comfortable, especially now that I've got some other, issues with, because I had the heart. I mean, my circulation is a little different. It's painful for me to sit, but like moving, you don't have to get out and run, but walking and just get some motion, and because your body is an incredible instrument in itself that's able to heal itself, but it needs oxygen to do it, and you've got to move in order to get those. And that's one of the things. So I could harp on this forever. And so no, and increment, like you want to get to 10,000, that's great. Keep going, see how much you can go. I learned that like 40,000 steps a day is too much for me. I think 32,000, and I learned this because otherwise you start to have negative adverse effects. But and that's, I know it's difficult because of our society is so sedentary. Everything we do is so sedentary, and we're not even during the pandemic, we were not encouraged to get healthy and improve our own immune systems. We were told to not get any vitamin D in the sun. We were locked, stay indoors, wait for a miracle cure, which most of us knew is not going to come until clinical research is done years from now. So, I mean, the fact that they closed the gyms, I mean, that is a very symptomatic of, I think, of a sick society. And like, so get out and move. That is the biggest thing that you can do to help yourself. Just walk. Walking is amazing. What was your big tip, hon?
Know your
Yeah,
why.
for
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, mine is know your why. With that knowing your why, you will create what matters most in your life.
That's beautiful. I love that. Know your why, because then you really, it will be like your guiding light on where you want to go. And that I love that. And so and to move. That is very true. That's very true. A lot of time people sit in the office, and now I noticed this, and I have a lot of friends says this. Like we used to kind of like want to go out more,
Mm,
even if yes, did some people, even if you kind of like go out in the car or to get places, you still walk to your car, and then when you go to places, you go around,
yeah.
and some people saying now that when they are after the pandemic, even in here, California takes its time, right? But even as things going up, opening up, like a lot of people has become accustomed to just stay at home and sit at home even more and not moving even more. And so it's like, okay, we were sedentary, and now we just turned into something else.
Yeah, it's not a good situation, and an ill-advised solution, if you ask me. But I think, and this isn't new. I think it's probably misattributed to Hippocrates, but he's the one, I believe, who said walking is the best medicine. And there's some truth to that. But also, see your doctor. Get with the help. If you do a health assessment with us, we'll help you identify a lot of different things. One of them being your why. A lot of people haven't even really thought about that, and I didn't. And it took me 3 near-death scares to really realize what my why. And I adore my wife, I really do. And it still, and it just didn't get through my thick skull until then. So yeah.
and and sounds like another thing is baby step. Like you said, yes, you can have the 10,000 or whatever target, but start somewhere. If you can only make it 2,000 on the first day, then yeah, or first one, or hey, better than the and what about with couple, right? I mean, you guys work in this together and support each other, but like sometimes with couple, it's like one person want to do something and the other one like I'm not gonna about to do. And I know I know people like that, that like one person's want to be eating healthy and semi-vegetarian. Like relatives close to me, they're like one person's like I want to be healthy and all these things. There's like the other one like nope, I want to stay with my McDonald's. You're like, well, what would your recommendations if there are couples and one want to be healthy and one like I love my McDonald's. Nothing against McDonald's. If you love McDonald's, I'm just it's just your hamburger, your steak, your whatever that's your wine or something. But like how some people like I want to be healthy, I want to change, and the other ones are like so
That's really a great example. In the first transformation of my husband, I watch him and I do my own. I'm Filipino, I have a lot of food, right?
You had to watch her eat ribs and rice, and I
And
mean,
pancit. Well, I watch him transform in his body, and I was just like influenced. He's not telling me anything like, do this, hon, do this. But through his example, I was like, that's very impressive. It speaks louder than words. And I said, well, I'm petite. I thought I'm healthy. And I didn't believe. I said, I want to lose some weight too. And I did the program with him after 5 months.
yeah.
And I said, I lost 15 pounds. And it's amazing. Wow, I lost that 15 pounds and it makes a big difference.
But more to the point here, we realize that we have a really strong relationship, Mary. We're like that. I mean, that's fine. It didn't bother me at all. But what I think you're probably speaking to is where there's real conflict or real strife in that. And that is where the community aspect of what we do in the coaching support, that's where it really steps in and becomes kind of, not your surrogate wife or husband, but yes, that is a thing, because it's not that my family didn't support me, it's just they didn't believe in me. And so there is this thing. So Anne was like, she was my ultra cheerleader, and so was Jen, my coach, and the community is just wonderful. So really, that's why we think we're successful, is because that situation you're describing is very real. It's very toxic, and it's one that the community can help combat and give them the tools to basically diffuse what's going to happen there, because it's all in how everybody has to react, and but like obviously there's some sort of jealousy, and like and it's true. I've known couples who have both lost an extreme amount of weight and realized they didn't love each other anymore and divorced. So there's a lot of things going into what might make a couple argue back and forth that way. And that's one of the things, again, why we do the health assessments when we talk to people, why, and figure out exactly what that dynamic is, so we know what sort of support they'll need, and then give them the tools to kind of handle these situations, because we have to understand that person's mostly operating out of fear and love. They're not operating out of, it's not a negative thing, even though it can be perceived as such. So our biggest thing is to treat those and help people with that, with understanding, patience, love, community, and just be there, because losing this weight, these journeys are very emotional, and it can cause problems within couples and things like that. And so that's why it's very important, we think, you stay connected as much as is necessary and as is possible. So I hope that kind of addresses what you were getting at.
Yeah, support
yeah.
important.
Yeah, exactly. It is so you're not alone if your your loved one, your family, and everybody's are not in this. You have the community that will help you step by step, and then as with you guys experience, you as you show by example, then people might be interested, and you don't have to it doesn't mean that you if somebody, if your family not supporting you, you cannot do it. You have people to help you, and hey, you can just buy different things for a lot of time and so things like that. So that's wonderful to know that there is a great support, because I know a lot of, like, in coaching, right, people like, well, I want to do this, but my spouse, my siblings, somebody else is not into doing this, and so that's awesome. How do people connect with you if they say, this, as we want to transform our health, or we know somebody? How do they connect with you?
Let me just say one thing. For those people out there who are afraid of not getting support from their spouse or family, do not ask permission. Ask for their support. Okay, it matters how you approach these things. Don't Can I do this, hon? Can I do this? Because you might find out that your spouse doesn't believe that you can. Ask them for the support, and you might be able to change things from the very beginning. Hun, where can they find us?
We are on Facebook. We are so active with our Facebook posts. Also, we can easily be connected and we do health assessments so we can know their current reality, what's their health goals, what's their why, and we start from there. We are we are very happy and be honored to connect to anyone from teens to all ages
Yep.
because we have different plans and programs that serve anyone who needs it.
And the name of our company is Morgeson Life Solutions. We do health and wealth. We can help people with. I help people with tax-free retirement and things like that. But it's mostly that comes after getting your health down to a good level. So, anyways, Morgeson Life Solutions. Yeah, we're all over Facebook, and you can find me on. I'm constantly posting on Twitter, and we're also on YouTube as well. So. Um, Yep.
That is awesome. The and I love you mentioned teen because a lot of time people say, "Oh, yeah, it's for adult." When we're hearing about this thing, we're thinking about adult, but we know that because being teachers and previously even more, like the health of our youth are quite an interesting state here, at least in a lot of places in the United States. Yet that they have they fall into this nutrition and all these other things. So I love that you mentioned teens because so that when if you might be perfectly pristinely healthy. But and you know how teens are, they listen to everybody else but mom and dad. Right? So if you have teens that you like been hammering, honey, eat your vegetable, maybe they'll listen to some strangers more than you do. So have them talk to Anne and Taylor, and they can and they have fast background anyway. So a lot of teens are into sport, into music, and I think they will connect with Taylor very nicely that way too, and they'll be buddy that help your teen and your whole family to change. That is so awesome. I love that you mentioned that. And do you have any one final message as we closing this? Do you have one final message for our audience, our listener?
We are also serving people from Hong Kong and Singapore. Our company expanded already and starting all over the world. So we are here. We would love to empower you, create a healthy lifestyle, create what matters most with your family and your loved ones. That's the real health and joy.
And just always be excellent to each other.
Real
Yeah,
health wealth.
Yes,
yeah, that's
that's real wealth.
yeah,
Real wealth.
yeah.
Anyway, but thank you so
So
much for having us. This has
well,
been
wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That those were a lot of precious, amazing tips. So absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Taylor. Thank you for sharing your tips today. And for you, my friends who are listening to this, please share one or two gold nuggets in the comments so we can continue learning from each other. And thank you for joining. Please share this podcast with your friends and your families, particularly those we have families. And because sometimes we think like, oh well, our friend has a perfect shape like a model, but you never know who they know, or perhaps they have teens at home who can benefit from that. So please share this with your friends and family so we can all triumph and, like Taylor said, have true wealth in life. And this is Dr. Birgit Ten, your grief transformation specialist for individual and companies, United States country chair for G100 All Ladies League, and founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity. And I see that you, my friends, all of you, make it a thriving day, and we will see you again next Saturday, same time, same place. Bye bye for now.
a good day.
Thank you. God bless.